Well, it gets better every time we're on air,
Yes,
right?
it does. Yes, it
It
does.
gets better. We get better at doing it. It becomes a smoother show. Thank you to everyone that was in the waiting room. Thank you and welcome to the gray area. I believe this is live stream 15.
Yeah, 15.
And
We're moving fast.
Yeah, we've done even more episodes taped. So it's really like episode like 19 or 20.
Something like that.
That's
yeah.
why we encourage people to go to the Rumble and YouTube channel, because you can find the very first streams that we just started doing. Of course, like all these streams are kind of the very first streams that we're
It is true.
started to do. But, you know, you have an interesting topic for today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about Tucker and Nick. We're going to talk about Mamdani and more New York City election stuff and the Amazon AI stuff. And
Yeah.
we were looking at stories and I was like, oh man, like what is there to talk about today? It was kind of like I was feeling like it was last week and like everything we talked
It's
about
like
we
a
kinda
dead
already
cycle.
done. But then we go on X to kind of look at like just at the news profile in the search bar, and you got rhesus monkeys like started the Planet of the Apes and have escaped, and they got like hepatitis C and COVID and all
It's
this other
crazy because
stuff.
you had just said
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes before even pulling that thing up.
Dude, it was wild. And the thing about that freaks me out is it wasn't even the scariest thing. We saw like the advertisement was the scariest thing. It was for like this home
Oh,
robot.
the home robot.
And I was looking at
I
it,
will
and
clean
it seemed
for
like one of
you.
those things that was like, you know, like a concept where they just like pay for the ad space and it would actually be like, oh, like this cool project or whatnot. Apparently there is a real robot that you can buy and it can like live in your house and stalk over you and put away your books and probably choke you when you're asleep. Right. But it's all crazy. We're getting to it all today. I've yapped enough. How are you feeling, Tim?
Feeling good. I was watching a movie earlier today. Let me see what the name of it was called, because it freaked me out. It's called a House of Dynamite.
House of Dynamite.
And the House of Dynamite, if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it on Netflix. I'm not fully done yet. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys yet. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but you know, it simulates, basically it's a legit movie. They've got a bunch of good actors on there, and it's like one missile, just rogue, goes intercontinental and is like targeting like Chicago or something like that.
Who
and then
launches it?
They don't know in the movie.
Okay.
They're guessing. They're like, oh, is it the Russians?
Israel.
Is it the Chinese? Is it the Chinese? They think it's the North Koreans. But long story short, you just see like all of the stuff that happens in the background. I wonder how accurate it is as far as like all the things they do from like DEFCON 1. Like it was nerve-wracking because like you talk enough about war, you see enough of it out there, and then this movie comes out that simulates what it's like.
Right.
You got like the war hawks in there, just like,
We need
Mr.
to
President,
strike now.
that's
Yeah.
literally what they were saying, and this guy is trying to be more even head about it, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like on the edge of my seat.
We don't have that guy, actually. I don't think we have that guy in the,
the
room.
rational
Yeah,
guy
we don't
that's
have
like,
him
hold
in the
on, it's
room
not
right
he
now.
was being nice to the Russians too. So
Can't have that.
yeah, so that's what what happened lately for me today, I was just like, ooh, that one didn't make me feel too good. So
Right. Well, both me and you, I watched it a long time ago. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. Are you familiar with Doctor Strangelove?
no.
So I believe I want to get people to crucify me for this in the chat. I believe it's a Kubrick film. Basically, it's the whole plot of like the 1950s, like nuclear war stuff. So it's people in like massive underground cities, and they're basically like acting out the apocalypse that we're seeing kind of form up now. We both really should rewatch that movie because it was made with a lot of like like the people involved. A lot of their like lore is in it.
Okay.
It's one of those movies, like Kubrick, I believe, also did Eyes Wide Shut, which is about like the like Hollywood like sex stuff and whatnot. So
Yeah.
he's famous for those types of movies, and they like took the script out of that movie and like wouldn't let him do certain things. And
Wow.
then he dies kind of mysteriously.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's all interesting. It's all here on today's show. We appreciate y'all, especially I see Jericho. He's watching from Rumble. We appreciate our Rumble and YouTube viewers a lot.
There too.
Yeah,
Let's see what other people are saying real
for
quick.
sure. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Honey Badger.
Thank you, Honey Badger. Working really hard on that production quality, guys.
Yes.
Not trying to just do it like a willy-nilly show. We really want to bring some value and some really good content. So
Right.
Yeah, I've been working on that stuff all week. So glad you liked it.
Yeah, it's getting even better. Thank you, New Groiper. Thank you, Chase Geyser. So kind, so sweet. Always a good time with Chase Geyser.
Chase is in here. Wow.
Chase Geyser created Methylene Red. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it as of today because I saw a bunch of people in our YouTube comments saying something about it. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
I remember a few months ago, Chase was, I guess several months really, I guess Chase was talking to me about this, and he's like, Methylene Red. And I was like, look, just look into the high quality B vitamins. A lot of them are red already. And it's got CoQ10, which I always speak so highly of in it. It's just a great health tonic, it appears to me. But, maybe they'll have me come in and plug it. Maybe they won't. But either way, it's a cool product from the Alex Jones store. Thank you for reposting the stream, you Groiper. And we appreciate everyone that does. We appreciate
Mickey first.
We appreciate Captain Hugh G. Boneher. That's pretty good. Thank you all very much. We appreciate y'all today. Head to head against the Tim Pool time slot. What, is he live right now?
Look, we're always going to be competing against somebody.
Let me do my best Tim Pool impression. Liquid Death Water has plastic in it. That's what you're going to watch. That
it's lined with it.
This is what he's going to talk about for the next couple hours anyway. We're going to talk about some fun topics, also some things that really make us think. And, God bless Tim Pool. He's friends with Alex Stein, who I love and respect so much. And, I met him one time. Cool guy. But yeah, Liquid Death Water and Civil War. If you want to hear about that, you can go watch his stream or you can watch us. But Tim, the big thing on X recently is Tucker going on Fuentes.
It is.
So let's go ahead and go to that. Let's read this news aggregator from Twitter and check it out. Tucker Carlson conducted a 2-hour interview with far-right activist, Nick Fuentes, on October 27th, 2025, where he denounced Christian Zionism as a dangerous heresy and expressed strong disdain for supporters, including Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, Bolton, Karl Rove, and George Bush. The discussion occurred amid grief over Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's assassination, September 10th, and drew widespread condemnation from conservatives who saw it as a betrayal of Kirk's evangelical legacy and elevation of Fuentes' controversial views. Reactions included sarcastic responses from Huckabee and accusations of platforming anti-Semitism, blah, 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 blah. So
I learned some new things from this.
What'd you learn from this, Tim?
I mean, honestly, I never really paid attention to Fuentes prior to this, but it was interesting to see like the stuff he was saying at the beginning with his background. Like, I'm surprised some of these people start super young into the whole politics.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to be like crazy, not crazy, but like you got to be like,
you do.
Really, yeah, you got to have a certain level of like
your mental health. I'll tell
wiredness to be doing that, and going out there and preaching the message of certain people at the age of like 15. Like for me at 15, right. I'm worried about like girls. I'm worried about like what car to drive. Like, so
I'd already been in all the big rituals.
You were also raised in that type of environment too, where like you just around adults and doing grown up shit at that age.
I think it's an interesting career path. Like we talk about people that have done this, like the Brylan Hollyhan guy, kind of, right? Like other such dudes that are like 19 years old and they're doing a campus tour for Turning Point USA.
Yeah,
but I mean, really, the way I see it is all their parents must be really wealthy to allow them to do this, right? I mean, think about if you have a kid that's into Formula One, right? And
yeah.
and they
Or
got a whole
horseback riding.
they got well, they no like Formula One, like the cars
Yeah.
and shit. Like they got it, but they got a whole program of how you get up to driving those cars, and it's all these leagues of cars that go faster and faster and faster.
Right.
I
Okay.
think it's the same type of like mega sport type of thing you do for a kid. Is like, all right, we want our kid to be, you know, like a political figure or something.
Right.
We have them hit the circuit at like 15, 16
But
years
I
old.
feel like when you do that, you miss a certain part of life that you
Oh,
just
it's
can't
horrible.
get back.
It's horrible for the children.
Like, what was your experience just being
Dude,
around adults
I
all
wish
the time?
I wish it was another way, to be honest with you. Like I wish, you know, hypothetically, and you don't get to wish you're in the life you're in, like it or not. But yeah, I was like, I wonder what it would be like to not, you know, have any of this structure as to where like there's a mission, there's a goal, and like you're involved in this thing whether you want to or not. Like
That's a lot
of
of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, right? And I thank God for it, and I thank God for my life, and you know, my life is my life at the end of the day. But if you're taking a kid, specifically, like this is what my family does, this is what my dad does, and like this is how we were successful ultimately. So there's a point of that to me as to where like, hey, it makes sense for me to do this. I like doing it. I think it's a good thing to do. But at the same time, when you're like 12, 13 years old and you're like, okay, this is the thing I'm going to do for the next like 2 decades.
Yeah,
That's
wild.
a lot, right?
It is a lot.
There are other things that are like also positive possibilities too that you could go do, or you could focus on this one thing. And I think for these kids, their parents must have like tens or hundreds of millions, and they're just like, look, just go do it. It's the world is your oyster. It's a sandbox,
Right?
Like, but we're gonna make it happen if that's what we want for you or what you want for yourself. For me, it was just an option that I took because it made the most sense.
So your dad, like, you get off of school and he's not like, you're gonna go and report, like he gave you the freedom to like choose initially.
Yeah, no, I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted. All I wanted to do was go to the office
because you had the exposure already.
Because I had the exposure and I wanted to do it. I mean, you've been there. Like that was a magical place for a kid.
And you started at 11?
Yeah, like 12, 13.
12, 13.
Right.
Yeah. See, like at 12, 13, I get off of school. Me and my friends, I'm like, hop on COD. And we would play COD for like 8 hours straight, go to sleep, go to school, and do it all over again. So it's very interesting to see like a contrast in that.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, for someone like Fuentes was obsessed with politics from such a young age. He was doing like Model UN and all this other stuff.
He's my age now too.
Wow.
So
okay,
yeah, I mean, he's young.
But he's another guy that, like, you know, like whether or not I knew about InfoWars or anything, I would have always, as a person, have been watching the news, and I would have always wanted to be involved in media at the end of the day. So I have to say, it was like it was definitely just such a unique opportunity. And when you get a unique opportunity, like a real like rare one or like a weird one, you need to like jump on it. And
yeah,
I recognized that as a kid. I was like, no one else is doing this. Like, I want to do this and have a really great time doing it because I believe in it.
Right.
And like, you know, once you find what that thing is for yourself, like for a lot of people, like that's sports, right? Like I want to go play an X sport. So they go do that. And that's how I feel like Fuentes was about politics. He's like, I want to do this sport. Right.
Yeah.
So him ending up on Tucker is kind of like
that's a big deal.
I mean, that's the cherry on top of the cake. He's basically set out. He's the leader of a political movement in America. It may be a weird one, maybe a little one, maybe online, whatever. It's a political faction. It's a voter base of people.
It is.
Right. At the end of the day. So him going on Tucker, I think the Turning Point people are going to be really upset about it because Tucker's affiliated with Turning Point, and they really, really, really do not like Fuentes.
Why though? Is it because he's always coming out with some crazy takes against them?
Yeah, well, like one of these guys, Dinesh D'Souza, and he's big kind of on like the establishment right space. He's done a bunch of like pretty good documentaries. I've watched some of them, but this is a guy, he came on InfoWars and he debated Fuentes. Dinesh D'Souza released text from Charlie Kirk showing Kirk ripping him for engaging in a debate with Nick Fuentes. This is like recent. You have no idea the damage you did by talking to him and complimenting him. You were making him even bigger. Kirk additionally called Nick Fuentes vermin. Ooh, vermin, mean girl stuff. And told D'Souza he made a massive mistake by giving him a platform. So if this refers to the debate that he had with Fuentes on InfoWars, I don't think it could be anything else. This is really like, this is pretty recent, right? But this reads to me more about someone that like saw Nick as a rival, you know, and is worried about him getting a profile.
Yeah. It says we've been fighting this guy for 6 years.
Yeah, like I don't think this is a
stream. You decide to give him a compliment.
I think people are kind of raising this as a pro-Israel point as to like Kirk would never want to hurt Israel. Look how much he hated Fuentes. I just think he hated Fuentes in general, right?
Right.
Because this kind of predates all the existing conflict.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting?
Right.
You would think like just from like an outside perspective, all these guys are on the same team, but there's like fractions within the conservative.
Yeah, no, they're all
movement.
different pools.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
Like it's not just like as simple as like just being on the right side team. Like
Right.
people are having disagreements all the time. So
That's
this is like I didn't actually know that they were beefing like this. So
Yeah, I mean, okay, all right. Here's the Huckabee tweet because I clicked away from it because there wasn't anything of consequence. Wasn't aware. All right, let's watch it first.
Ted Cruz,
we won that.
and there are a lot like that.
Does it have
John.
audio?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that. John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all. George W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen like be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that?
Right.
And I could just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody. Because like what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't like. Why not? Like, I'm pissed at the neocons. Very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad
Okay,
since.
we get the point. So, wasn't aware that Tucker despises me. I do get that a lot from people not familiar with the Bible or history. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Somehow I will survive the animosity. I mean, so Mike Huckabee is our ambassador to Israel. He literally got on a stage with a bunch of other Israeli musicians, and they played a what was the song that they played?
Like a pro-Israel song?
Dude, this is eluding me. I'm gonna find it really quick. I'm just gonna. I gotta show this to you. I gotta show this to you.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's like as you hear like all of these different terms, you know, neocon and Christian Zionist. It's like, dude, how many buckets are we gonna keep creating for different groups of people and what their belief system is?
Check this out.
Is this it?
Yeah, this is it.
Oh,
Sweet Alabama. Yeah. But like, this is their like dancing monkey.
This is I've got the guy in the yarmulke.
Oh, dude, just wait till they start singing because they changed the words.
Torah scrolls keep on turning.
Oh.
Just 2 days and we are through. Then we start from the
Dude, I love how much of our money went to this. They probably
Who's
paid
singing this?
Hashem's holy words begin
that dude
anew.
right there.
We all have come to help.
I mean, isn't this great, guys? Isn't this what you voted for? It's what I voted for. I wanted Mike Huckabee silently playing the bass guitar in kind of the tuck position while a Jewish rendition of Sweet Home Alabama is played. It's a weird episode of Guitar Hero. All right, that's enough. But look, this is just. I think
What
I
the
think it's
fuck
right
is
to say
this?
that guy is too pro-Israel. Like, this is not.
Talk about drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. But you know, we have the Tucker story. We like the Tucker story. It's good to see because these are titans in media and in media history, really. And there's been a long debate as to why they wouldn't talk. And Nick doesn't want to do it with Tucker. Tucker is afraid of Nick, counteracting language. I think that this was always destined to happen because we see the political split in the Republican Party taking place. It will not exist in its current form. Just like the Democratic Party won't exist in its current form in the next 10 years. I truly believe this because on the Republican side, you have the old boomer evangelical, like essentially white pseudo-Christian base. And these people love the Ted Cruz, like, I want to be a senator for Israel.
Cruise missiles.
They love the weapons. They love all of it. And they think that it'll last forever. And they truly do believe America is invincible. And then you have the independent coalition who saw Trump as that wrecking ball and who are just totally disillusioned with the system. And regardless of what you believe about Trump, the dear leader, the person we must worship all day, every day, and never stop glazing, and maybe he'll give us a crypto scam. that we can be in on. And then he's a cool guy, right?
I want my
But
7,000.
you must never criticize Trump because at the end of the day, he's saving the Republican Party. He is saving the Republican Party, but it's still going to be the Republican Party. He's breathed new life into it, right? So when you see these dissident figures on the right that either like Tucker loves Trump, talks about how much he loves Trump, but he criticizes Trump on his like big mistakes, as he should, right? Fuentes is highly critical of Trump and has even said he'd vote for Gavin Newsom. I don't know how I feel about that.
Who said that?
Fuentes has said this was a big meme in the Twitter space that he might vote for Gavin Newsom.
Are you kidding me? Have we not looked at California?
Well, I mean, but look at everywhere, right? Like this is the argument though that they make. So to see Tucker interview someone who really is kind of like anti-Trump in his views now, which is so shocking because Nick is a very pro-Trump guy, but I think
what is Fuentes like? Is he conservative? Is he libertarian? Like what is his vibe? Like I get so confused by his messages sometimes.
I don't know if he'd call himself a white nationalist. I'm not sure. I know he doesn't like the Wignat people, which are like the Adolf Hitler 1488 type dudes, right? He doesn't like that. But at the same time, I don't know, a monarchist, maybe like Christian monarchy. You know, he's very Catholic, and like Catholic Church has a lot of problems.
But don't you realize, like, technically, I forget in the video, he was saying he's consuming a bunch of content from this one particular person.
Who?
Dude,
Talking about Fuentes?
Yeah, Fuentes.
And he was from the interview, from the Tucker.
Yeah, from the interview. I was looking at it. I was watching it earlier.
Okay.
And he basically went around his school and was like, you know, one of their mini ambassadors, essentially. So like, it's almost like he got everyone gets indoctrinated to a certain level. So then you like lean heavily into whatever core base of ideas that you like were founded under. And I know it makes him popular because he can say some really critical stuff, but I'm wondering if he really actually believes some of this stuff.
Who, Fuentes?
Yeah.
I think Fuentes believes what he's saying. You can't do a show like that and not believe what you're saying. There's no one that's that talented. He says what he believes. He is edgy sometimes to a degree, doesn't have to be, but I mean, he's made it very clear. Here's something I disagree with Nick on a lot. He likes the projection of American power as long as it makes sense, quote unquote, whatever that means. So he's like, I'm not even necessarily against the Venezuela stuff. And I'm like, okay, all right. Because like he sees it as like we've sold out America, primarily for Israel, but also for other people, like the special interest and such. That's his argument. He's not necessarily critical of the actions themselves, but he's critical of the rationale behind them, who we're doing it to and why.
Right. Okay.
He's also very against the Palestinian genocide. So like these are things that make him not fit in with the establishment Republican Party. Tucker, you know, it's weird with Tucker. All Tucker ever did, and this is like the one point of contention besides the vaccine stuff, all Tucker ever did that was different from mainstream establishment Republican, all Tucker ever did was to criticize the war in Ukraine. That was the thing.
Well, like you gotta also put clauses in this, like pre-Fox, post-Fox, right? Because pre-Fox,
I'm talking about pre-Fox. This is what got him fired.
Yeah,
I believe.
Because in general, I would have said he's a little bit. He was in the talking like Jesse Waters type of vibe because he's obviously on national TV. But once he got away, like I got to see like a different side of him altogether, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like he's not doing cable news anymore. Like maybe he is more comfortable in the podcast environment. The podcast environment is easier. Like it's less pressure. You're not in like a massive like studio and there's people running around. Like it is like,
and your boss isn't telling you what to say.
Exactly. Right. So I think he left. I think it was the smart tactical move to leave, but it'll be interesting where they go because I know Turning Point USA doesn't like this one bit, and I'd be very interested to see whether they drop Tucker before AmFest.
Also, Stein talks sometimes critically about Turning Point. How does that?
Stein does not talk critically about Turning Point. Stein is a part of Turning Point and loves it.
Well, I mean, like sometimes I'm like, oh, that's walking along the edge, but like he doesn't like outright say anything confrontational.
No, I think his thing is that he pushes envelope with like everything he does because he's like a comedian or whatnot. Like they give him a wide range of things to be able to do.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes way more sense because I'm like, isn't he part of Turning Point? What? But like he's not necessarily saying anything so out of pocket that it has confrontation with that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Turning Point USA is that they're just like a machine. And I think that they've decided that like the pros and cons of him are worth it. You know,
Yeah, he's hilarious
with his
and he brings
antics. So
eyeballs.
yeah, they like him a lot. I don't know. He just did a tour with them, but
Yeah.
like when I went to the Turning Point thing in Austin, here's the thing: it's just the young guy in suit phenomena. Like you got the young dudes in suits strutting around. And it's like I'm part of Turning Point USA. Oh, I'm 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, all right. But
yeah, and Tigris says something good here. Alex Stein is seen as less threatening. I agree with that statement.
yeah,
you know,
I
he's
agree
not
with that.
he's not one of those guys that's just like you think is going to go out there and like galvanize and try to start.
I mean,
a riot.
he defuses everything with humor.
Yeah.
That's kind of his nature. But what else do we have here pulled up? Oh, we have the Mamdani stuff.
Mamdani stuff.
Want me to lead off with that because you got a big chunky thing you want to get into.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, we're gonna run through this real quick. Not gonna take too long to do it. So, a big talking point that's emerged about Mr. Mamdani is apparently that he said somewhere or the other that he supported sex work or that he wasn't going to criminalize or like use, I don't know, they picked the women up off the street wearing like the fur jacket, right? So like whatever. And he said he was going to do something about that. And then like Andrew Cuomo's like, something about sex that isn't me raping somebody. Like we got to get on this now. So like they hop on this and they've just been repeating it ad nauseum. I just wanted to go to this quote really quick. I have never supported legalization of prostitution, and I find it quite ironic to see Andrew Cuomo speaking about betting in a mosque. So I don't like Mamdani. I'm not defending Mamdani. He denies this, but apparently they found a Muslim guy who crashes out about this because he's been told this and he believes it. And I was watching the Due Dissident stream, and this is where I'm going to pull it from. But the Due Dissidents guys, they like Russell Dobular, phenomenal host on that show. He went down and interviewed a bunch of these people at like anti-Mamdani gathering, and they brought this Muslim guy out. And it's a bunch of like ex-city or like small city politicians, councilmen type of dudes out there. They bring this dude out. This dude really hates Mamdani.
Like to his core.
He really hates him. So let's watch this fine gentleman, this imam here. Let's watch him go off.
It is my holy duty.
Holy
as a
duty.
Muslim, to stop a man who is a fake Muslim, who is a imposter, who is a failure and a fraud. My name is Muhammad Rashid. I'm a Muslim. He is not Muslim. A Muslim cannot promote prostitution and cannot tell your daughter to become prostitute.
To become prostitute.
It is against any religion. And
I mean, it's just, and this is a point they kept hitting. They kept hitting that Mamdani wants to legalize prostitution.
I love this show, guys.
He wants to stop prosecuting the women, which I think
so maybe
there are
he
a lot of
does.
conservatives who agree with that, who see the women as victims and feel you should prosecute the pimps and the junks. To be a prostitute.
Is there more?
socialists believe in atheists.
Muslim believe.
Socialists believe in atheists. That's right. That's right. I mean, so it's obvious.
Great spokesperson.
Yeah, it's obvious Mamdani's going to win, and he's going to win everything. I mean, when you have, if the opposing side is just people on the street and they're like, we found one guy that legitimately actually hates him for like a non-political reason, and they bring him out there, and like this is the height of what you got, right? So I think it's very clear he's going to win by like 20 points or whatever, however big it's a landslide type of thing would be in New York. But I see people talking about this story and kind of refusing to leave it alone. And if you actually look at it, there's a lot of meat on the bone that hasn't been discussed yet when it comes to the New York election, specifically the thing about the rent freezes.
Yeah, the rent freezes is an issue. You know, it's easy to be able, he's run on this for his campaign. This is like his bread and butter. This is the thing that's really got him galvanized.
But I thought he want daughter to become prostitute. I thought that's what I was told. But,
the thing that he's talking about where like, I don't think I know what you're saying, but like, I don't think prostitutes should be prosecuted the same way that the pimp should be. I mean, yeah, they're making money, but the guy does have a lot of influence. It's hard to get out of the game.
That makes sense, right?
Right.
If you have someone organizing and doing like the conspiracy around the thing, it's worse than like, you know, the dude that they like mastermind the thing to get into the bank is worse than the guy that actually does it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the concept works there, but to go back to what we were talking about, rent stabilization, you know, it's easy to just promise something, but then no one ever talks about the specifics of what goes into doing something like that. And by the way, this isn't the first time New York has talked about rent stabilizing, rent freezing. Actually, if you dive into the history, this is the exact reason why New York is in the situation that they are in.
I'm from
today.
New York. Sorry.
Yeah, they've been dealing with this for the
I've
last
lived here
20.
for 110 years at this apartment because in 1910 they said we wouldn't have the rent go up no more.
Right. So I mean, you're creating a supply shortage. So I've got some good videos here.
Where do you want me to go? Just let me know.
Go to that first tab. This is
one?
yeah, and we'll play it in a second here. But this video here, guys, it puts things in perspective. And I was just doing research just to back up the claims that are happening in here. But like, I think people who are voting need to like inform themselves on like some of the major issues that, these politicians preach on. And they're going to find out very soon that this is going to make things worse, and they're only worried about their immediate concerns, but they're not worried about the other people who are going to have even more of a hard time once this thing is passed, whatever Mamdani does. So let's go ahead and roll this clip.
Start it over.
No, leave it there.
Mamdani, who slipped out of the venue before I could talk to
Mamdani!
him, would appoint the members of the New York City Rent Guidelines Board if he becomes mayor. It has the power to freeze the rent for about 1 million apartments. Under the current mayor, Eric Adams, the board has allowed rents to go up by an average of about 3% a year, or less than the rate of inflation.
Like, look at this.
Well, you got to wear your mask.
It's a circus.
You gotta have the mask on. It's to protect my privacy. Oh, like they're still wearing the COVID mask.
Yeah, but they think this stuff is the thing that is gonna affect the change, but they've already made their decision.
19.9%. It's turned into a circus.
Ann Korchak, who's the board president of the Small Property Owners of New York, is one of the few landlords who attend these public meetings.
Booing and hissing. It's really very intimidating.
These people want to kill the landlords. What are you talking about? They want to actually murder the landlords. Yeah.
Many of the people who come out to these rallies live in rent-regulated apartments, meaning they're already protected from the city's soaring housing costs. But what about the people who don't already live in one of these apartments, who don't typically come out to rallies or get interviewed on TV? How do policies like freeze the rent impact them?
I'm from New York. I have a bunch of stuff in a storage unit, and I take it out.
I've been
and go get a
pawning
slice of
off
pizza.
all my stuff just to raise extra money.
Julian Acosta and his partner Zena have been struggling to find an affordable place to live in New York. But there are fewer apartments on the market than ever before.
Dude, just leave. You don't
Any
have to
good
live in New
apartment
York.
that we saw.
Like,
So
it seems so bad.
I know. And you know what? It is very easy. I used to make that argument.
Dude, it looks like
A lot.
hell, bro.
I know. You're fighting for the one bedroom that cost $4,400 a month, which is actually the median price for a one bedroom in New York City these days.
Damn.
You're fighting for that, and then it's like probably like 500 square feet. Nothing
No.
insane.
Like it's like 2 of these rooms, basically.
Dude, there's apartments that are the size of this room. This is like an 8x12, and this would go for like $3,500 easily.
Dude, you're kidding.
I've
All
seen-
right, so what is? There aren't that many rich people in the world. Like so, the city essentially. I mean, they got a bunch of empty buildings anyway, right? Like they got.
No,
or is it all just owned by like a foreign conglomerate?
So when you talk about property in New York City is like one of those like unique beasts because there's no more land to build on, right? So
Right.
everything is you have to go up. And they have a lot of laws and regulations about the skyline, and it takes a lot in order to like build new
So it's at max
skyscrapers.
capacity.
It's already at max capacity, and you're talking about one of these beacons that attract everybody from the entire world. Like New York's
I'm not.
population.
Speak for yourself. I don't have that magical feeling in my belly at all. Not about New York. Like even LA seems nicer to visit than New York. I'm gonna go and I can't.
No, well, I got to take you to New York sometime.
All right,
You gotta-
all right.
you
Well,
gotta-
I've been once a long time ago. But
You gotta have money. That is a true fact in the matter.
yeah,
In
you
order to
go
live
to
in New York,
rich and then you leave, bro, just because of how expensive it is to live there.
well, making 6 figures in New York it's the equivalency of like making like 50,000 here, 60,000 here. It's just a livable wage, but it's not anything
I don't know.
crazy.
500 square foot is not livable. That's insane. And then your neighbor is Mr. Cockroach and then Mr. Rat. And they come out at night and you get to see them.
Slumlords.
I've seen the videos of the roaches, and I've been to DC a lot. I've been to DC almost a dozen times. And at night, if you go to a bar or something, you leave and it's a crackhead with like giant long dreads and then no hair at all on the other side of her head. And then it's like just a bunch of rats running on the street and going back into like a storm drain.
New York City has worse rats than
I bet.
DC for
I
sure.
bet.
Yeah, it is not the most ideal situation.
Yeah, I'm yapping. Sorry, New York is funny to me.
No. This is great. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Fun.
So let's skip to this part.
Regulated?
So just to preface it, you know, the rent stabilization also applies for guys who make six figures and engineers. And this guy right here, he's like a software engineer that lives in a rent stabilized place.
Tyler pays only $1,900 a month, which is less than half the market rate.
I am that 1% who got the perfect
I
apartment.
work for ChatGPT. I made
While
the
tenants
companion
like Julian
robots
and
on there.
Zena might benefit more from such a deal, from the landlord's perspective, Tyler's high income makes him a safer financial bet.
That extra $600, $700 I'm saving is going towards retirement. It's going for a down payment for a house in the future or a co-op.
Hold on. When they say safer bet, like they want him to keep paying his rent.
Yeah. Okay. So like
that confuses me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So when you're a landlord, and I am a landlord, by the way, so I do have a good idea.
Kill
about all
him.
these
We got to
things.
kill a landlord. That's what Antifa says. That's what they say. That's what they say. But yeah.
I am a landlord. So when you're doing it, you're going through, like, you have a bunch of applications going through, right? The thing about, you know, when you're a landlord, people just think that you're profiting a bunch of money. More often than not, unless you bought that property a really long time ago, it's not cash flowing like crazy. And there's a lot of expenses that go into it just to maintain the property. But essentially, you want to make sure that that person can afford their rent. The last tenant that I had was late every single month. And when your tenant is late, no one else is paying. The property manager doesn't pay for that.
You gotta pay the rent.
I pay that out of pocket.
Yeah.
So if you're behind a month or two, that's the landlord that directly has to pay for that amount. So to avoid that, normally it's you got to make 3 times the monthly income. I mean the monthly rent in order to qualify for a specific place, and that does apply for New York. So
so you got to make like $10K a month to get the tiny coffin apartment.
Yeah,
dude, that's so insane.
It is insane. It is insane.
That's crazy. People think of landlords, you know, the meme of the little guy who can't get any water, he gets like one drop, and like the giant fat dude who like gets like the entire pipe full of water. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I know what you're talking about.
They think of that image, and that's the thing, is like, we're gonna like kill the landlords, or we're going to take them out. I mean, ultimately, someone's going to control the property, right? And you're going to live either in like an anarchy world where it's like Mad Max, and that's very unlikely, or you're going to live in like a communist type government where the state, which is just the happy people of the
you don't want that.
Whoever takes over.
We don't need that, guys. Trust me. The government owns it. You think it's a mess now? Just wait until they had their hands on something like that.
Right.
Can't never trust it.
Right.
A subsidy of life, effectively. You see sometimes those, you know, tech bros with $300,000 incomes. Should they be in the rent stabilized apartments? Absolutely not. There should be someone else who deserves them more.
That's nutty. Dude, I'm sorry to keep pausing the video,
no, you're
but
good.
If you're making $300K a year, you go live out in the country, buy property, and you build a massive fucking compound. Like,
it's not that
these
simple.
People
the reason why you're making $300K is because you're in New York and they're paying you for that. So
all right.
I come from Europe, and when I learned that rent stabilized apartments are not given to people based on their income, but it's just a matter of luck, I was really shocked.
I was shocked. I didn't know what to do.
Is a private
but I
investigator
capitalized
and
on
fraud
it.
examiner in New York City.
Even in France, they don't have laws that are like this. It's the wealthiest tenants who maybe live full-time in Miami or in the Hamptons. We had the case of a man who was living in Pennsylvania in a beautiful house, but he would keep his apartment rent-controlled near Yankee Stadium so that he could go to the games and not pay for a hotel.
Yeah, like that right there is wild.
Look, Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, you're basically a millionaire already who got the lot. Like, guys, the rent stabilization and these, freezes and stuff, it's a lottery system. It's not just like something you go and apply for and you just get it just by the need, because there's millions of people that need this.
You're going to be familiar with this, and this is what I was just thinking about. Do they have Sector 8? Do they have projects in New York? Is it like that?
Section 8? Yes. There is Section 8 in New York City and a lot of these other places. But here's the thing. You dedicate a certain amount of units to Section 8. It's not the whole entire building. Sometimes there are entire buildings. But again, you're talking about 9 million people in New York City, right? And with more people coming in, there's already a housing shortage. You couldn't put enough Section 8 in New York City if you tried.
I feel like it's public service to tell people not to go there.
It doesn't make any, guys, it does not make any sense to live in New York if you are not from New York and if you're just trying to, like, you want the experience. That's why a lot of people will go there for a year just to get the New York City life. Totally fine. But have a backup plan. That's not somewhere you want to live for 10 years if you're not making a decent living, and it also comes down to the people who were born there, right? You want to stay home,
escape.
But like you were born in Austin, right?
Freedom ring.
You don't want to leave Austin all of a sudden.
It's not the same. I think about leaving Austin all the time. That's number one. But I mean, here's the thing. I get it. It's a beautiful state, like upstate. You could live somewhere.
It's way cheaper upstate.
You could live somewhere other than the city, But I guess people, they want to live in the city.
It's the opportunity cost, and it's that. But you can find that anywhere. You could find that here in Austin. New York City isn't the main hub for just that, but that's why LA and New York exist for those reasons.
It's a very New York situation where having a rent stabilized apartment is perceived as an asset.
Train with everyone else.
Rent-regulated tenants lucky enough to reside on Manhattan's Upper West Side enjoy some of the steepest discounts in the city. The neighborhood is known for its massive pre-war apartment buildings and elegant townhouses.
They were grand, beautiful brownstones for doctors, lawyers, bankers.
Landlords like Korchak will sometimes have the same family occupying one of their units for generations. Although rent-regulated tenants don't own their apartments, the law makes it possible for them to pass their units down to their children or grandchildren.
Generational lease.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Generational lease. Somebody gets a rent stabilized property, they die, they can pass that on to their kids.
That's pretty insane.
Whether the kid needs it or not, you can own that same rental unit for the same price for like generations.
I think the gangs of Guatemalan teenagers have it all figured out, where you just go break in the house and you say you live there,
squatting,
take it to court. Yeah.
I wonder how easy it is in New York versus California. I think it's a little bit. No, actually, it's pretty messed up in New York too.
Once you get in, right? I mean, how are you going to get out? They can't evict you.
Now the thing with this is, the ones that are rent stabilized, they're probably living there because it's cheaper than anywhere else. So if the little Guatemalan breaks into my house, you bet your dollar I'm doing something about that.
Right.
So let's skip ahead here to let's go to the real reason why this whole system does not work. Fast forward here. Now keep in mind, having generational ability, regardless of income, and a lottery system just puts the perfect storm for you to keep the amount of units occupied.
If you get one of these generational leases, you like never tell anyone about it. You're like,
yeah, it's an asset.
They'd kill you, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
They'd marry into your family and kill you to get the lease. I'm sure there are some people there that have like grand estates and shit.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm positive about that.
What are you looking for?
I'm just going to the timestamp that I want to go to.
But Glazer says rent regulation is one of the main reasons it's so hard to find an affordable place to live in New York.
Rents are artificially high because you've taken all these other units off the market. Rent control leads to misallocation of units. Middle-income couples who come to New York with a kid hoping to find a future in the city are priced out because there's somebody who's using the unit as a pied-à-terre.
If you did raise a family in a big apartment, and now your children are grown, you don't need a 3-bedroom apartment anymore, but where are you going to go, right? So there's a mismatch of housing to the occupants too because of rent stabilization. It really distorts the market.
You don't want
This
to
is my
screw up
porch.
markets.
It
Every
is,
time we try to turn off
$2,000
the
a
price
month
mechanism,
to,
there's going to be a
own it.
strange way in which people are going to try and work around it. And you can't just keep on whack-a-moling because all sorts of strange and awful things happen.
What's the shitty area?
Like Harlem. Okay. Pay attention to this one. This is good.
Rent regulation has caused all sorts of strange and awful things in New York's real estate market since it was first imposed over a century ago. The most tragic case dates to the 1970s, when rent control was one of a handful of policies that caused the annihilation of the South Bronx. As economist Assar Lindbeck famously put it, rent control appears to be the most efficient technique presently known to destroy a city, except for bombing. Some landlords torched their buildings to collect the insurance money because their rent rolls weren't enough to cover their expenses.
The fire next door.
We don't know
CBS
how it
reports
happened.
with
We got
Bill
no
Moynihan.
idea.
This
It's a
is the
giant
Bronx in New
mystery.
York, and the flames are the signal of a national disaster. A couple put their life savings into their building. A rent control law left over from World War II kept a ceiling on rents. Losing money, they let the building decline.
More and more apartments become vacant, and it becomes less profitable for the landlord. And before you know, you have a block that no one living in. It becomes a waste now.
Yeah. So,
well, it's like you say, you have nowhere to build. You don't have options here. Your only option is really to cash out, unless you want to acquiesce to the new system.
right.
Make less money.
So what they're doing now, what the landlords are doing now is the units that are rent stabilized, instead of renting those units out, what they do is they keep them unoccupied and they let the unit deteriorate. So there's a bunch of what they call like zombie apartments.
It's like a rat infested shithole.
Yeah, they
basically.
purposely leave it because renting that out would cost them more than just to leave it vacant.
Okay.
So there are a ton of vacant properties, in different units that people
But they're not
could
allowed
have
to develop it, or
developing it would cost them like 200 to 300,000, right? Okay, so here
permitting
to not just permit, but you're talking about to renovate a completely like run down, torn up unit. Some of those units would cost you $200,000 to $300,000 just to renovate that one unit. And by the way, most of these landlords are not paying for this stuff out of pocket, guys.
They get help from the city?
You get a loan. But here's the thing about loans. When you get a loan in real estate, this is my bread and butter. I love this stuff. I tell you.
Let them know.
When you get a loan in real estate for anything, let's say you want to go buy a multifamily or something, they look at how much rental income that unit makes in order to justify the loan. Now, if this unit is rent stabilized, and let's say you're only able to pay it for $1,000, the bank isn't going to make money off of that, and they're worried that asset, so they won't issue the loan to actually renovate that apartment. Do you see how this is all working?
We love it. It's good, and that's how a system works. It doesn't work and it breaks, and we just say that it's good.
We just say that it's good, and then somebody goes in and just says, "Hey, I have a solution. Let's freeze the rent. That'll solve the problem for these, 1 million people that are dealing with that." But then the other 5 million that struggle where we have the same issue, well, we can forget about those people.
Right.
It's because people get amnesia and they forget what brought you to the issue in the first place. They've been dealing with this stuff since the 70s and 80s, guys.
It's a fact of life.
Yes.
Now,
the more you regulate, the more you make a mess and the more you cause the same issues.
Right.
Now, I know, just to take the other counter argument and play devil's advocate, there are landlords that have abused raising rents, especially during COVID, where you had some people freaking raising their rents like 15-20% just because they knew the occupancy rates were high and that people really wanted to find units, and they could do that. But look at what happens. People decide, I'll take a giant sledgehammer to just hammer down a nail and then you mess up the entire system. Rent stabilizing, guys, is one of the worst things that we can do in this certain situation. You have to figure out how to subsidize some of these and create new housing. That's the only way.
If someone can't make money off of it, they're not even going to do it.
No, and there's a bunch of landlords that are actually losing money on their properties.
Right.
Where there's one guy, he's got like some of his units is rent stabilized, and then he's got some of them as like normal income where it's like 3 to 4 grand. But at the end of the day, when he pays all of his bills and he pays everything it costs to run that building, he's left with $5 in his bank account.
Nice.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
I got $5 in my pocket. I manage 20 properties. It's a good thing. Welcome to New York.
Right. And the last point I'll make here is I understand people get really mad at the landlords and they're like, oh, the landlord is an evil guy. Yeah. And then maybe when I was younger at some point, I was like, oh, you know, landlord, bad guy, maybe. But like when you become one and you like are in the situation and then you figure out like the costs that go into it. Oh my God. Like
you just murder the landlord.
Yes. I mean, you got to understand, you know, when the tenant, anything goes wrong in that unit, the tenant doesn't pay for that. The landlord does, right? So you're talking about hundreds of dollars worth of expenses. And I'm laughing because somebody said Tim the slumlord. I actually do right by my tenants. I make sure everything's
That's
repaired.
what they all say.
No, my place is spotless. I'll tell you that. It's brand new, renovated. People got the granite countertops.
Oh, you make me want to join Antifa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Go ahead. But
Just kidding, folks.
But the long story short is like it costs a lot of money just to even be a landlord, and it's not always a very profitable thing because it's essentially you're just playing the long game when it comes to holding property. So you still have to raise the rents in order for you to actually pay for them. But let's read some of the comments.
Right. New Groiper, always great to see him. Could not pay me to live or even visit New York City.
No, you need to visit. Visiting is completely different than living.
New York. Yeah,
it is a fucking magical place on its own. You get a billionaire on one side, and then a guy who's basically chasing his own butt.
Dude, but the guy chasing his own butt is a knife. He's gonna shiv you.
It's actually kind of safe in certain areas. Just don't go out like at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's why.
JK, we love you, Tim and Rex. Appreciate that, Michael. Very sweet. Why would a person want to live in a New York City apartment? Explain like low IQ and 5. Look, when you gotta understand, some people they want to be a firefighter. Some people they want to be in a spaceship. Other people they want to live in New York. And for people that want to live there, to pay the money to live in the coffin apartment, it's worth it. It's a good deal.
Agent, it's an emotional one, right? Like there is an appeal to New York City in itself. It is a fantastic place, you know, to at least get an experience from, and so that's why it draws a lot of people.
Right.
So I can get mugged. No thanks.
Shit, I'm a contractor. Best move I made. That is a smart move. Anyone who wants to invest in property should also invest in real estate investment trusts so I can get mugged. No, thank you. Imagine during COVID when people were still allowed to deduct the rent, but landlords still had their bills to pay.
Tigris, that was awful for them. They actually put a lot of these landlords into situations rather than, you know, it's crazy. Rather than spending the money to like help the Americans, you know, they give the I sound elitist, but they give the immigrants credit cards to fucking go.
They give the immigrants credit cards and then they can get the pizza and I can't get the pizza. What the fuck? I mean,
I gotta say, I love his New York accent.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop doing it. It's so funny to talk this way.
No, I love it. Keep going, but yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, they absolutely got slammed when the landlords had, and not all landlords have just a sitting cushion to bankroll. Sometimes it's a month to month, so they got screwed over. So
inheriting a rent stabilized apartment is unexplainable. Proof the whole thing is a scam. Yeah, it's real weird.
I'm sure they had good intentions when trying to release that, but again, it's like that knee-jerk reaction. No one thinks. They're all first order thinking. They're not thinking into
not second, third, fourth order thinking. Yeah. My dad loves to say that. Let's talk about the first order thinking. Why it's a problem.
Yeah, so let's keep going.
Being from inner city New York is not a flex. Hey man, New York was a magical place in the 90s. They filled it up with garbage. And then he goes on to reference the Home Alone movies. Home Alone movies are good. Not discrediting that and the fine history of the city. Here's the thing. I like to drive. I don't want to live anywhere you can't drive.
Yeah, driving in New York would be nuts.
Make America Christian again. No Sharia law. I agree with that. No Sharia. Sharia is bad. Mamdani is haram. This is also true. He is a fake Muslim. He said he went and smoked weed. You can't do that. That's haram.
Yep.
It's haram. You can't do that.
And he's Indian Muslim. He's not, Palestinian or, Middle Eastern. He's Indian.
And he's from Ghana? Or no, he's not from Ghana. He's from
one of the African states.
He's from one of the African states. He's a very multicultural, multi-ethnic, really he's from a bunch of different. He's got a bunch of the little categorizations they love for the candidates to have so they can say that there's something. He's got 5 or 6 of them.
He's got the check box.
Yeah.
Check this if you are this ethnicity.
Muslim, generic ethnic, kind of brown. I guess he's Indian. And he is he's a global citizen, I guess.
He's gonna fuck New York with doing this. And it's crazy. If you didn't catch it at the beginning, he chooses the panel that decides to enact this thing. So if he gets in, it's a done deal, guys. Is he just gonna issue a bunch of new permanent tickets? Essentially, does he have the ability to do that? What he'll do is
I'm sorry. I know I'm interrupting a lot. Can he go to the landlord and say, "Look, this person's been paying this much. Their rent is now stabilized."
Yeah, but it's not him. It's the board that he appoints that pushes his agenda.
The way it always works.
And the board decides in that committee, the ones you saw doing the we want rent stabilized.
They will be
the board that he'll put in a new board. They'll decide on that. They'll probably pass it. And then yes, as a landlord, you have to be governed in the ordinance of the county that you are in.
Uganda is from Uganda.
Yeah. So, they're cooked, and it sucks.
I guess he's African American.
He's not black. That's like saying, but
people joke about.
I joke about it.
Elon Musk, it's a joke.
I say the same thing. People from Morocco, my friend, looks totally like Muslim brown, but he's from Morocco. I'm like, bro, your brother. You know that?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. You got all these global cultures, and then you have the American system, which itself is so weird. The way everyone sees race in America, it's like an old history, but it's also not old because it's a very short period of time that everyone's been here. Whereas you go to some of these other places, like a place like Africa, a place like Europe, a place like Asia, and they've been there for thousands of years, right?
Yes.
So I think at the end of the day, though, he doesn't really belong to any continent. He kind of just is this vestigial. He's a politician and he found root in America ultimately.
He was born here too, right?
I think
he was from Uganda, but he lived here for a while. So he doesn't have any.
He's got to be a citizen.
Yeah,
I think he's a citizen. So I mean, it's all there anyway. But you want to watch more of the video? Talk about it more.
We can probably let me
get more out of this.
Yeah, let me find the part of this video that shows the slumlords not renting out the units okay, here we go. Pay attention to this one. Let me see.
Franchisement.
But 6 years later, the 2019 law has made New York City's housing crisis worse. Landlords aren't burning down their buildings to collect the insurance money, but there are parallels to what happened in the South Bronx. Building owners are keeping properties off the market and allowing them to fall into disrepair because prices are set too low to cover their costs.
I live there.
These apartments mothballed, right? They're like a ship that can't sail anymore. Seems foolish, right? To have a resource that you're unable to use.
A neighborhood deeply impacted by the 2019 rent law is Washington Heights in Upper Manhattan, which is home to New York's Dominican community and was the setting of the hit musical In the Heights.
That is not how the people live.
That's how everyone lives in New York.
It also has among the highest number of rent-regulated apartments in the city.
I don't like these lies you spread.
Kenny Burgos, who is head of the New York Apartment Association, took me to one of the many apartments being held off the market. The landlord can't rent it because it's not up to code.
This is a 3-bedroom apartment. This is over $100,000 to upgrade. We're talking wiring, lead remediation, appliance upgrades, floor leveling.
But the regulated rent is set so low that the landlord
Dude,
would
you could
never
use so
recoup
much
his
fentanyl
costs.
in there and have such a good time.
What bank is going to lend you $200,000 to improve an apartment when the legal rent was not even $1,100? The math just doesn't add up.
We're in the midst of a housing emergency. You know, it's
That's
a
rat
shame
shit,
here
by the way.
because this is an apartment that can house a family.
Another community that's been impacted is Crown Heights in Brooklyn, a Black and Caribbean neighborhood that has lately become popular among recent college graduates. I once shared an apartment here with roommates. A few blocks from where I lived is a 14-unit building owned by Lincoln Eccles, who is keeping 2 of his regulated apartments vacant because he'd lose money renovating and renting them out.
My uncle bought this property in the late 50s, and he passed it on to my father.
He showed me one of his empty units.
It hasn't been touched since the tenant passed away.
The city has set the rent at about $1,000 a month,
I've
or
seen
a
worse.
fraction of its market value.
This is one of those shuttered apartments. Some people call them
Dude,
zombie.
you're telling me that guy's like, yo, you can
It's
live in here
locked up
for
as dead.
$2,500 a month.
Huh?
The guy's like, you can live in here for $2,500 a month.
He can't do that legally.
Yeah.
You know, that unit would actually go for like 33,000 or something like that.
I think I figured out a way around this.
What?
You have a group of people break in, then you're trying to evict them, but you're charging them rent. That's how you get around this whole thing. I just cracked the code.
So they break in.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I caught you here, but now you can pay $3,000 to stay here.
Right.
But why not just live there for free?
Well, because they're in on the scam with you.
That's true.
And you turn the utilities off.
You can't even afford $3,000 if he's breaking in.
Yeah, you know, I was throwing out these numbers. This would be like $10,000. What am I even thinking about? And I thought like, oh, a lot of money, like $2,500. But like, it's so crazy.
I don't even pay $2,500 here in Austin.
Dude, right? I don't pay half that. So like at the end of the day, I don't know. But he got the apartment. It's passed down through the family. It's something that you do. You don't really have a way out of it. This is the family business. So there won't be any help for these people now, will there?
No,
Because like this seems like how you would fix the system is you'd fix it on this level, right? They don't want to do that.
You would have to do something to help the landlords out. As crazy as it seems, you have to incentivize the landlords.
And you can't run on that. We're going to help the landlord.
Dude,
Yeah.
do you know how many people would be so mad? There'd be riots in the streets. But like, not to say that like all the landlords are struggling like this. There are landlords that are genuinely making really good money off of keeping the rents high, and they did become unsustainable. You know, it was like a 25% increase over like 3 years. It went out of control, but like you're not solving the root problem by doing this. So he's got 2 units that have like, you know, ability to house, you know, probably upwards of, you know, 10 people potentially.
You're doing the Hitler.
Oh, I think I need to be a little bit higher for
I'm
that.
joking. I'm joking.
But yeah, overall. And then Agent Phil asked, is it not possible to sell as a condo? No.
So they can't sell their properties?
You can sell your property, but you would have to, you would sell it and you can sell it with the people in it. But then of course,
wait. Yes, I sell you this place, but it's got some people in it. It's a little bit of a problem.
No, that's exactly how these deals work.
Wild.
You can sell property with tenants, and it's actually a benefit too because people typically want to buy.
Well,
You can buy
live there
units
forever, right? If you find like the place that you want and you can afford it, you live there for a long time.
Not just that. When I'm talking about from like the buyer seller side, like as a buyer, I go into the market.
Right.
If I find a place that has good tenants already and it's already rented out, that's less work that I have to do to fill those units out.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's
makes sense.
that's the logic behind something like that. But to sell it as a condo, I don't think that's possible because there's a bunch of like rules and regulations and zoning that you have to. Certain areas are designated as certain zones.
You can't do it zone.
Yeah, dude. Zoning is one of the craziest things. There is really good benefits, like, you know, you can't build a freaking skyscraper in the middle of this neighborhood
Right.
here. Like, it would make no sense, and it would just mess up the aesthetics. But then there's other times where you make zoning and it disincentivizes certain type of building and permits, and it keeps an area impoverished. But that's a rabbit hole we don't have to go down.
You want more of this?
I think this is the last of what he says.
The math doesn't work. Day one, I rented, I would be at a loss.
But not all of the units in his building are rent regulated. He took me on a tour of a 3-bedroom where the tenants pay $4,100 a month.
All right, let's
However,
see.
only 3 out of the 14
Come
units
on,
in the
bro.
building are market
Are
rate
you
like this
kidding
one.
me?
And Eccles says he's going broke.
The lights are
I'm
nice.
closing out the month with
It does have
less
good
than
lighting.
$50 in the bank.
Okay,
Yeah.
that place is like $1,500 here. Maybe
It
17.
would be nicer. It would have amenities, and it would you would have the ability to like have like concierge trash.
That's very disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even get a parking spot.
Yep.
Probably.
No.
Right? Yeah, I mean that's but hey, people want to live there and it's interesting. Now, we have this other story about the automation and we're going to go into this. We're going to talk about that robot ad that we saw that turned out to be real.
Yeah, this is funny.
And we'll talk about that. Do you want to do that first or do you want to go straight into this?
No, we can let's watch the video of this and then we'll talk about the robot after.
All right, well, let's check this out.
So
This is very
guys,
fun.
this is about Amazon. I'm sure people have seen some of this today.
Everyone better
This-
be clapping at home for the phenomenal automation.
Cuts at Amazon. Overnight, the company announcing it'll eliminate approximately 14,000 roles. This is the largest corporate layoff of the year, one of the largest in Amazon's history. NBC senior business correspondent Christine Romans joins us now. Christine, this may be preview of coming attractions. The AI boom is real, and it's meaning a lot of jobs are going away.
It really is. And this is 14,000 at Amazon, and people will start to get that notice here today. The company says it needs to be lean and remain more nimble in this age
Lean.
of
You gotta
generative
fire people,
AI. They want to operate like the world's largest startup, they say, and they call AI the most transformative technology since the internet.
Now the
They want
computer
to
runs
reduce
the company.
layers. They want to be able to move quickly to harness this so that they can make more money and serve their customers. So I think you're seeing this in a lot of different businesses as well. We have seen layoffs recently from
That's gotta be a
Microsoft,
horrible
Meta,
job.
Google, Salesforce,
Those people are tough.
Intel, Target last week announced some layoffs at its corporate office, sometimes for different reasons, but we know that companies are moving very, very quickly to try to harness this. It's so interesting. You've got the stock market at record highs, in part because of all of this spending.
We've got the stock market at record highs in part because of all this spending. Wow. You know, we're going to go back to the clip. Have you heard something that true in months? I haven't. That's the truth right there. The stock market's at record highs because of all the spending. It's the government spending. It's the private spending.
It's actually 7 companies that are keeping the stock market high, and it's those big, magnificent 7. You've got like Apple, you've got Amazon, you've got Nvidia. Who else is on that list? I'm blanking on it. Microsoft. These are the tech giants that have a bunch of money coming in because they're the ones leading the new technology and they've got a lot of spending. So like that 7%, those 7 companies are counting for like a third of the stock market right now.
Right.
So I mean, it's kind of
but we love it.
Misleading when you hear stock markets at all-time highs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the bubble. Like, and you're bragging about the bubble essentially. That's why I paused it. Is like markets at record highs because of all the spending. Just like, man, like
I'm really hoping this bubble doesn't pop anytime soon, but who knows?
Enthusiasm over artificial intelligence. At the same time, that same
We gotta
technology
have
is being
AI.
used in these companies to become more lean.
And interesting, Amazon explicitly
more
said,
lean,
yes,
fire
this is
them all.
because of AI in that statement they put out this morning. So you touched on it a bit, but bigger picture now,
These are some
AI
weird
appears to
looking
be
news anchors.
reshaping the economy, or at least
I'll
the
tell you
jobs
that.
market.
And it seems though we're in the very early innings of it. The Treasury Secretary a couple weeks ago said he calls this the third inning, which means there's a lot more to go here as companies learn how to use these tools. And as these tools change, in some cases, they haven't even been created yet, the tools that some of these companies are already starting to reposition for. So it's quite
she wears on me. I find her to be grating.
No, but like overall, this is a problem. The AI is the first thing. The robots is what comes next that really destabilizes this. We weren't even trying to find this.
No,
Rex pulled up
still
X
have
and
the
he just
ad.
saw the ad on X and we were like, this can't be real.
Hold on, I think I
Scroll
still
up maybe.
Oh,
Yeah, there it
dude,
is.
It's still there. All right, awesome. That's great for the segment. All right, I just want to make sure I have everything.
No, you can pull it up.
Yeah, I want to make sure I have it all organized in timeline. Okay, so we are just getting ready to do the show. We are just on X at the news portion of the search bar. And I'm like, what's this? Like, I thought this is like a meme or like, it's like,
So did I.
Or like, maybe it's like a stationary, like Alexa type of thing.
The eyes are so creepy.
Dude, it's horrifying. This thing will strangle you when you're asleep after it's done doing your dishes.
And then he pulls the website up and I'm like, no way. $200 deposit. And then this thing, look at this.
Dude, it's going to drop that on your head. It's like, I will.
You know how you see they're skipping the frames because the robot probably like didn't finish.
Yeah.
Put away dishes.
Dude, this thing's horrifying. It would be cool for target practice. It'd be cool to shoot at this thing and like evasive maneuvers and see what it would do.
That's so weird, man.
Yeah, this is bizarre. Okay.
That's not even, watch that. That's probably not even the robot.
I got a YouTube video for it. It's right here.
It's here. The first humanoid robot
robotic
housekeeper.
slavery.
Thank you, Neo. For $20,000, you can pre-order 1X's Neo robot now with delivery and
That's not that much.
$20,000. That's a car.
Dude, I mean, but you can yell at it and it won't do anything.
You can beat it and it won't do anything.
That's what people do to it.
Tiny spot over here.
just one
You didn't clean all the way. I'm turning you off forever.
little catch. There may be a human behind the curtain pulling the robot strings.
A what?
If I throw up, will the robot throw up?
A company representative may need
Okay,
to
so you
peer
can
into your
operate
house
the
via
robot
Neo's
in
camera
VR.
eyes to
That's
get things
actually
done.
kind of
To
cool.
many people, this is crazy.
Dude, but when did this?
Why would this need be necessary? though?
And when did this happen? Like when did this? Like this is an advancement in technology. I remember being a kid and like looking up robots for sale. We're like, what do they have? And it's just like it's all bullshit.
It's like one of those things that happen in the background that people don't talk about much, but they're always pouring billions of dollars into research for things like these.
Have to be okay with this. for the
Always
product
one
to
of
be
these
useful.
guys,
But
like
is
a
Neo
reptilian
a
surfer
useful
dude
product?
that comes up
We're
with it.
twinning now, Neo.
Home robots have had two big challenges: creating a safe and capable body and a smart brain. 1X is taking on both of those, which is why Neo looks so different from a more industrial factory robot.
Neo, it's 70 degrees here in California. Why are you wearing a sweater?
Good question. Bert, why am I wearing the sweater?
It's a combination of safety and just also generally aesthetics. You can think of it kind of like a skin, except if it was an actual skin, that would probably be pretty creepy.
It would be creepy.
Dude, it's fucking horrifying.
It's already creepy with no face.
If it was an actual
Hold
skin, that would probably be pretty creepy.
It would.
Black eyes, like a doll's eyes, like Jaws.
You can see the cameras in there.
Dude,
wait till China hacks
Dude,
that stuff and they're just watching.
They didn't
it.
have to make it that look like that. Like they try to make it look like his actual eyes, but it has like a faceless demon head. Like that's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
You could make it at least look friendly and cute. It wouldn't be impossible to like not have the retina showing, right? But they do it. Look at
Insane.
that. I mean, and get ready because you could have problems with the nursing home or like the assisted living about how they're treating like your old people. What if it's all these things? Like 10 years, like, well, it's really expensive to pay someone 60 grand to be like a nursing home nurse. We're just going to have 100% these things. And just like silently at night, it strangles
And
like, an ant. Yeah. Like,
and then what if it like reacts or it does something like too abrupt and it just like breaks grandma's arm from accidentally just like
I'm
going
sorry,
too fast.
we'll initiate recovery protocol, calling police. And then just like the siren starts going off.
Would be creepy. But I actually wasn't all that creeped out by Neo.
Inside Neo, it really starts with some very, very powerful motors that we have developed here at 1X. These motors are so strong and light that instead of using the classical gears that you see in robots, we can actually pull on tendons loosely inspired by biology and muscles. This allows Neo to move around not just quietly and smoothly, but also be very, very lightweight.
Put him in the
and be very
military,
low
strap
energy
a
in
bomb
motion,
around that
just like
thing,
people.
put it in like a
That
jihadi
lightweight
outfit.
design is
you got a
intended for
false
our
flag.
safety in case the 66-pound robot falls. Although Neo is capable of lifting up to 150 pounds, it's not as superhuman as you'd think.
Crush it. It's a walnut.
Okay.
There's this concept that we think that the robots
that's
are like
not bad,
superhuman
dude.
in like
That's not
pressure
bad
and
at all.
strength.
10
And
years,
some
that'll be
robots are,
strangling
because
out
they're
of
heavily
commando.
geared, but that means you're not sensitive.
Yeah,
right?
actually, you're onto something.
Dude, the
there.
government saw this and
The-
they're like, hell yeah.
The moment you have a robot that can replace a human, forget Actually, oh, dude,
We
I
should do
just
a whole
scared
show on
myself.
it.
I
We
just
should do a whole
scared.
show on it.
I
We
just
talked about
scared
it
myself.
before. Yeah, I know
The
what you're
moment,
talking
the
about.
moment you have, no longer committing human lives to combat, and there's like a movement, like there's these robots that can do human movements and like go in and do missions. That's when it gets scary, because there's really the only incentive that stops people from attacking or committing troops to the ground is the fact that the local people are like, no, we don't want our brother or uncle killed in combat.
Right.
But then you've got the little robot. What's stopping them from putting boots on the ground?
Fear, only the directive. Yeah,
What's stopping people from going in then?
Right.
Wow.
Man. The dream finally feels within reach.
I hate
but
it.
I also couldn't shake flashes of
6,
Ex
7.
Machina.
Its eyes are wrong.
Neo turns on the stove and throws some paper on and
burns the
walks
house.
away. Can Neo do that? Will Neo do that?
Neo will not do that. Physically, can the robot do that? Yes. Physically, can a lot of products in your home do something dangerous if they decided to? Yes. We will ensure.
If they decided to, what?
No.
All right, no.
This is the iRobot.
No. It has to have human interaction at some level. Obviously, if something falls over because of like the wind or whatever, and it does some damage, that's one thing. It sounds like this thing has actual AI. So,
but I don't know what the little VR headset was for, because it seemed like somebody was controlling it. Here's the thing with these projects, right? Everyone always does this, like, let's go, and they pay to be on this, by the way. You pay you pay for PR. Yeah, you pay for PR so that you can posture and say this is legitimate. But these companies always tank. First of all, the application for something like this, who's going to pay $20,000 to have a freaking robot that can't even crack a walnut? Tell me, like, what use case scenario does it have for this besides like some really rich guy who's bored? There's no tangible, accessible market for this. So every time they come out with something new, it's just an iteration. And this isn't the first company that has tried to invent something like this. Where it starts to become scary, and it's going to be a while before we get to this point, is when you get human motion,
right?
When it's not mechanical anymore, and they are able to mimic exact motions and ability to like grab and do those things. But we're so far out from doing something like that because it's a lot harder than AI, which is software.
Right. I mean, but even when they're telecontrolling it, it's still like very, very, very inept.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
with a VR headset and controllers was the one actually operating Neo. That is until he handed me the controllers.
I actually might throw up. I think my
so
hand
it's not
is
even working.
Okay, so it's complete bullshit.
Yeah,
Never
it's not even
mind.
working.
Sorry for the audience. This is actually lame as hell. But I'm sure it won't take long to get a Chat GPT right here.
And the concept with all of this, guys, the robots is something like everyone's scared about, but the AI is the first thing. And with the Amazon layoffs, it's like 30,000. You can go to that last YouTube.
Sure, I'm going to pull something else up first.
Okay,
go ahead.
The thing with the Amazon layoffs and the 30,000 people that are losing their jobs, look, part of that is because of AI, but I posted about this earlier today. It's not just AI that's putting the jobs out. In 2022, Amazon and a lot of these other big companies went on these massive hiring sprees, okay? They spent a ton of money and gave insane packages. I had a friend that got paid from his just getting out of college, was like his whole package was like $200,000
right
for being an engineer, right? And they had a lot of money to spend, and they wanted to go and make these new markets like Amazon. Do you have an Alexa? Do you have Amazon?
No.
All right. So I have an Echo Dot.
That's sacrilege.
Anyone who has an Echo Dot knows that thing is a piece of shit and does not work like half the time when you try to talk to it. It's because they spent a bunch of money trying to upgrade Alexa. They had this robot that security around your house where they spent a bunch of money and engineers on that. And a lot of these programs don't work out, and they hire a bunch of people, and they were like, oh crap, now money's not free anymore, government tightening, we gotta lay off people in order to compensate for all the mess that we made over the last 2 years, because this isn't sustainable. So it is also part of that.
Right.
What else were you gonna pull up?
I already found it. It's just a story to close us off with. It's the funny thing about the monkeys.
Okay. Cool.
But if you want to watch this video now, I'm ready to do that.
This video, guys, talks about AI and the chips. Okay, so just to put some background, okay, NVIDIA is like the main big boy who, you know, has all the chips that go into the AIs that do these crazy things, that do all of the computing power, and they're coming out with these chips. But here's the thing. NVIDIA only owns the intellectual property. They don't have these massive facilities that produce the chips in order to do a lot of this high-tech work.
It's all in Taiwan.
It's all in Taiwan, and it's between Taiwan and Samsung. TSMC is the main guy, and then you also have Samsung. But Samsung, as you will find out, doesn't even have the ability to keep up with the same level of quantity and quality that TSMC is. So this gives a little bit of background into what's going on with that relative to Taiwan, because I know we've mentioned it, but we don't really explain the real importance on how these chips are made and why it's so effective.
Deep dive on that.
And this is like a little mini one, but we'll go even deeper on a later episode. But just watch this and it'll put things in a perspective of why it's so hard to get these chips out.
This sounds logical in theory, but the reality, take their designs to another manufacturer. This sounds logical in theory, but the reality is it's a much tougher problem than people think, because the types of chips that Apple and NVIDIA are designing, the 3 and 4 nanometer chip generation, can really only be manufactured by 2 companies in the world, TSMC and Samsung. Why? Not to get too into the weeds, but the 3 and 4 nanometer generations are the most advanced chips in the world. They will soon be overtaken by the 2 nanometer generation. It's a bit of a mess because the naming convention used to be about transistor size. Now it's kind of morphed into just marketing speak. But the idea is the smaller you can make the transistors, the more you can fit onto a chip, and the more powerful and efficient the chip becomes. Now, for scale, a human hair is around 70,000 nanometers thick. So these transistors are 3,000 to 4,000 times smaller than that. To make transistors that tiny,
a smoke particle is like 10.
That is, humans amaze me sometimes. Like, we always talk about like the craziness and the bad things that go on, but just put this in context, guys. 3,000 times smaller than your hair. Like, it is just, and it's insane how we even develop the technology. This is why, you know, I still pro humanity.
An insane level of precision, and there's only one company on earth that even makes those machines, ASML, based in the Netherlands. Each one of these machines costs around $300 to $400 million, and there are only a few hundred out there in existence. These machines are owned by various companies around the world, but mostly by TSMC and Samsung. But the kicker is, even if you do have one of these $400 million ASML machines, you still can't make the 3 nanometer chip unless you have the decades of experience, the software, and the supply chains that go with it. And then to make these chips at volume, only TSMC and Samsung can do it. Okay, so send the orders to Samsung instead. The problem is Samsung, literally the next most advanced foundry, still struggles to match TSMC's production quality. Their 4 nanometer processors had big yield issues, meaning a big chunk of their chips come out defective. And honestly, when you're producing a $30,000 GPU or a $200 iPhone processor at scale, a 20% yield loss is just too painful. NVIDIA learned this the hard way during the pandemic because it actually did use Samsung's 8 nanometer process for its RTX 30 series GPUs, but the yields were so poor that NVIDIA went straight back to TSMC for the next generation.
Yeah, like, guys, it goes to show, you know, when you put all your eggs in one basket, it gets pretty scary sometimes, you know. And
yeah, I mean, what if this all fails, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is, they are building you know, a Samsung factory out here in I think Tyler or something like that, somewhere north Austin. But you'll see later on why we can't just all of a sudden get up to the capacity of what they're building here. Let me see if I can skip forward a little bit here so that we can get to the meat.
To sum it up, if something happened to TSMC, you can't swap them out. There's no viable backup plan. There isn't a ready-to-go
himself.
fab
No,
Texas
follow the
that
gray
NVIDIA
area.
can rent out if the Taiwan situation escalates. And that's what makes this whole AI boom so fragile. And you might say, but hold up, Isn't there a massive push for chips to be made in the US? And isn't TSMC building a chip fab in the US? Yeah, that is correct. TSMC is building chip fabs in Arizona, to be specific.
To this one, guys.
But the thing is, just because you build the factory doesn't mean you can instantly start pumping out the world's most advanced chips.
True.
For starters, those new Arizona fabs are years behind schedule. The first one was supposed to start producing chips in 2024. It's now been pushed back to late this year or even next year. And the second site might not be ready until 2028. These fabs are extremely complex. I don't know if you've ever seen footage of them, but they are not like a car assembly plant. These places look like something straight out of a sci-fi. The air is cleaner than an operating room. Workers wear full-body bunny suits to avoid shedding a single speck of dust, because even a single particle can destroy an entire wafer worth millions of dollars. We're talking about facilities that require investments of tens of billions of dollars, require thousands of specially trained workers, and need ultra-specialized supply chains of gases, chemicals, and precision machinery that just isn't established locally in the US. So that's hurdle number one, and that's not even mentioning the talent problem. TSMC's engineers in Taiwan have decades of experience working up to the most advanced 3 nanometer and 4 nanometer nodes. But when they brought that operation to Arizona, they discovered that the local workforce just doesn't have that level of expertise yet.
No, we don't.
Engineers even had to be flown over from Taiwan just to get things working. So you really can't replace that tech.
Yeah. That's the thing about.
So it's just not possible.
It's not. That's the thing about manufacturing is it is possible. It's not as quick as you can do it, as necessary, right? Because here's the thing: we're predicting, the government's predicting, and intelligence agencies are predicting that somewhere around like 2027 or 2028, that is when that is when China is going to make a move on Taiwan. That's what their estimates are, and it's because they're making a bunch of different like land units. They're making a bunch of equipment to be able.
They do military exercises closer and closer and closer.
Right, and there's certain, I forget what the amphibious machines are, but they're building something that's supposed to be done by the end of 2026, and so. You know how you were making that joke about like, oh, they should just like plant bombs and just blow the whole thing up?
It wasn't a joke. I was being serious.
But they already have that contingency. I was looking into it. Like they actually, that is one of the things that they potentially could do in order to. But what they'll do is they'll fly the most important personnel. They have like an evacuation plan, I think, for these people, the real engineers that we need.
Talk for a second. I think my dog got into the garbage. That's not
bad.
Rupert's on a diet. You can't do that.
He's a chunky boy.
He's way too fat. It's a real problem. Keep on talking.
But basically how it works is they have a plan to go and take like the most essential personnel. You fly them to the United States, basically protect them from, Taiwan, to protect them from China. And then you go and you like damage all the equipment. Like, dude, it's $300 to $400 million just for one of these machines. Like, that is absolutely insane. And just to move that operation over here, we've asked TSMC and Taiwan to give us like 50% of the manufacturing capability, but Taiwan refuses that because they know they have, a little bit of a monopoly. They own 80 to 90%. So by the time that we move all this stuff over in Texas, right, they're saying, oh, we were supposed to start this in 2024. We might get this up and running by 2025, maybe 2026. That doesn't mean the entire thing is ready to pump out. I'm an engineer. I work in manufacturing specific. When you do manufacturing, you work in phases. It's not something that you do overnight. Just because you say, oh, we're able to make this certain capacity, in order to get up to full capacity, it actually can take up to, 5 years to a decade to get the proper process in place, to get the speed and the consistency that you need. Because here's the thing, when you do it the first time, you say, oh, we've got it up. There's always something that goes wrong in manufacturing, especially in automation. We deal with this on a day-to-day basis where like machine will just go random down and you've got to go and troubleshoot. That delays. And so TSMC, because they've been the company that's been doing this for so long, and they know exactly, and they were able to spend the decades getting the kinks out. You can't just train Americans like that overnight. So, what it's looking like, I hate saying this, but it looks like, we're kind of cooked, because that is the only place. Your little iPhone 17, forget that. That's not, that doesn't exist. There's no Apple products, because Apple doesn't produce their own stuff. They get the same chips from Taiwan, and we're not going to be able to make the manufacturing quick enough. As much as we posture, by the time that they actually
we have all the money and we're building everything and it's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
trust us, and it's going to work.
That is what Trump said. He basically was like, hey, we've got $500 billion that are being invested here in the United States to build these chips here, but like no one's talking about the fine print, which is why we're showing you this.
I heard Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson talk about this on Dialogue Work today, today, and he made the point of Trump is so incredible at having the truth in one ear and then a lie in the other, and blending them together, and like telling like the greatest story ever about the thing. I forget the term he used to describe him, but it was very apt. We hear about all these investment deals and the manufacturing, and the NVIDIA wants to work with us. All these big companies want to work with us, but you look at the infrastructure and it's decades and decades and decades of specialized labor, specific supply chain, of a way the thing is done, a style, an art form of the way the thing is done. And then we look at our declining empire, really declined empire. We look at all the manufacturing that we lost, 2 generations ago.
Right.
All the places that we lost, we're just like, we're just going to bring it back now because we have money. And I don't think that works. I don't think you get to run a society that way. I don't think you get to run a government that way. I don't think you can reverse 3, 4, or 5 bad decades of policy with we're just going to do it right this time. Because, you talked about the person in the field, right? The person working on some sort of like contract farming job that is here illegally. And you go, would Americans really want to, I'm going to move the dog gate so we can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
Would Americans really want to do that job themselves? Because the narrative that we hear, or the narrative that I would project, I would say they need to raise the amount of money they're making for that job. But I would say, yes, Americans would take that job. Now, an American can't take this job. They absolutely cannot. The vast majority of them, they don't have the skills to run a place like this.
So to couple that,
or the aptitude, the culture, all of it.
To couple that, you also need to understand Asian cultures are very different than American culture when it comes to STEM. STEM is already one of those like under employed positions. Like there's a big need for engineers, and the Asian communities, including like India,
they understand this.
They understand this, and they say you're gonna go study for being an engineer, or being something in technical space, maybe medical, and that is your path. You're not going to go for some art history degree or some underwater basket weaving.
No, you're going to learn how to work with the machine.
You're going to learn how to do something that's actually helpful to society and that you're going to actually get paid for. So bringing it here means that, like, yes, we have to take the same personnel, because at the same time, we don't have all of the qualified people to actually run that. And also it comes down to upbringing.
These kids are probably hearing at home about the chips when they're like tiny. Like, this is what we do. This is what we make. We basically, we power the world with all this technology, and it's what you're going to get to do too. And even if you had the smartest person from America, or like, just a statistic group of like the smartest people, and you had them try to take on this job, they're not going to have the culture to do it.
Well, here's the thing. We would have the
would take a while to build.
That's the key.
Yeah, and
it would take so long that it just doesn't make sense, which is why you have to learn from the people. The thing is yes, we're going to figure out a way to do this, but it's going to be that 10 to 15 year period to where you diversify. But by that
right,
time,
and then the Great Depression happens, and then the water wars begin. I mean, look, and we hear, oh, it's all going to be fine and it's all going to be okay. Are you done with this topic? You got any more you want to say? Okay, so we say, oh, we're going to figure it out. It's going to take a while, but one day we'll get there. We'll get to the promised land. I'll tell you, we're not going to get to the promised land anytime soon if I keep seeing stories like this. Trump truck carrying Tulane University research monkeys overturns on Mississippi highway. A truck transporting 21 rhesus macaw monkey, I believe that's how you say it, from Tulane University overturned on Interstate 59 while in Jasper County on October 28, allowing 6 monkeys to escape into nearby woods. Authorities shot 5 of the escapees due to their aggressive nature, contained the remaining 15, while 1 monkey remains at large. Of course, it's always one. You know, it's out there. COVID-20 on the loose. With warnings for residents to avoid contact, Tulane University clarified that initial reports of diseases like hepatitis C, herpes, and COVID-19 were false, and that animals carry no such pathogens, highlighting risks in lab animal transport. So that's not too good, right?
No, but like if they don't have, if they were probably on their way to be tested, they might have not have actually had been injected with something, because those are
no,
the
they
lab
carry it. They carry.
Oh,
it.
just naturally. You're saying?
Yeah, they carry it.
I thought they were
like
talking about shooting
they
it
can,
up.
No, they can have those as part of their like natural biome, and it doesn't make them sick. Kind of like an armadillo can carry leprosy. You know, I bet you didn't know that. No, armadillo.
And we don't have monkeys here in America, so yeah,
No.
that outside of zoos, do we? Hold on, I might go down the rabbit hole with this one. Do we have any?
Yeah, in Florida, there's a small population
Is
of some
there?
that escaped, and they live in the swamp, kind of, and they like live on the tree.
Yeah, that would be nuts. Do we have
Isn't that nice,
native
guys?
monkeys?
We got a Rupert visit.
He's gonna break through.
It is what it is. Here, the people love to see him. They love to see the Roo.
He broke through the wall.
Mr.
Okay, yeah, there's no
Roo.
native monkey species in the continental United States. Yeah, you got to do Central, South America, Africa, Asia. I mean, there's a lot of invasive species here, though. I try not to get into that stuff because that stuff will scare you
Well,
too.
Florida, they just people will just release their pets. You know,
Holy
and that's why they have such a problem with the snakes and everything. Is people are just like, oh, I have a giant ball python, I'll release it out into the wild.
Yeah, and then it just messes up the entire
Yeah, then nothing can
ecosystem.
kill it, and it just has infinite food, and it's just like awesome. There's a species of toad that's in Australia, and it's got like poison sacs in its neck, so like everything that eats it dies basically. It, like,
What?
reproduces massively. So they've lost a lot of these like native species, just like toad they brought over, and it was brought over to like eat a bug that was causing a problem.
Oh yeah. They bring something, but here's the thing: sometimes when they bring the invasive species over, they don't know what the impact is, and then that invasive species, you got to bring another one to take care of the one that was supposed to handle in the first place.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. It is crazy. Well,
do you want to do a? Do you want to take a call, or are we?
I think we're good for today.
Yeah.
All right, that was a good show. I enjoyed it, and we're gonna have more Thursday. We'll probably take calls Thursday, and keep in mind every time we're on Sunday at the Gray Area, we do a phenomenal 3-4 hour show.
Yeah, that's our Sunday special, guys.
Right.
That's the one to really tune in. We know that not everybody can tune in on Thursdays and Tuesdays,
Right.
but Sunday, you ain't got nothing better to do before
No,
work.
just come in. We're gonna have a good guest. We're gonna take calls. We're gonna have all the news for the week, all the top stuff. I love my dog so much. He is so good.
We had Harrison on for people who
booger.
did not catch that last Sunday, but he was a phenomenal guest. I enjoyed that one thoroughly.
He's a good dog.
Did you actually end up going on the War Room on Monday?
No, I didn't. I think he was busy. It's been hectic over there. I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but I really enjoyed tonight's stream. We just went over a few. Hey, stop eating nicotine, please, dude. The dog goes to where I throw the nicotine pouches away. This is worse than what Hassan does, actually. Probably much worse. No, you can't have it, dude. I think he just ate one. Man, what do you have in your mouth?
Rupert's a fiend now.
Rupert, what did you eat? Okay, I guess this is
It's
just
the plant.
that's
It's
the
just the
grass from in
plant.
there, but he probably got a nicotine pouch. That's really bad. Come on, out.
Come here.
Come on, get out. Okay, he doesn't want to leave.
I got it.
Yeah, just get him out of there with the promise of food. Yeah, here, come on, let's go out. Come on, get out of here. Get out of the studio. All right, and shut the gate. Yeah, he's a great dog. We have fun doing the show for you guys, and like me and Tim have had a great time. Tim has made some excellent points about the situation in New York and the rent freeze and the real science of like being a landlord and what goes on behind that. We're going to clip that, and we're going to clip other sections of this for the channel. And we really appreciate y'all being here. You don't have to be here on Tuesday night, but you're here with us. And I would just say follow Gray Area Talks or subscribe to it on YouTube and Rumble.
Yes.
And then in my profile, Tim's profile is linked. Follow Truism Tim on X. You're probably watching this on my profile. We really, really, really love and appreciate everyone on YouTube and Rumble. We're trying to grow those, but we really, really appreciate people that go and follow Tim on X because you get to interact with him. You get to interact with the show. We're trying to grow in this. We're trying to get new, better topics to talk about. So like anything people suggest, we've already done a couple shows based on people's suggestions. In closing, what do you have to say, Tim?
Overall, I read the comments from people, and maybe we should read a few before we close out because there's a lot of messages here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that many. Great show. Thank you so much. Thank you, Linda. I am BSEE. Is that electrical engineering?
Yeah.
Okay. And have been unemployed since January here in Los Angeles. Every job opening has 100+ applicants. That's sick.
Yeah, that's because of the job market. When the interest rates went up, the lending stopped, the businesses stopped hiring, and it was just a trickle down. We're in a mini recession. Even the white collar jobs are struggling depending on which industry you're in. I am sorry to hear that. Sometimes the only option is to find in a new market, but I know moving isn't always the easiest option. So
I went for history/English and double major, still got a gas station job. Yeah, I mean,
look, Samantha, that's not, you can't 100% be your fault. When you think about that, you're also pushed a certain narrative.
Right.
And
Everyone
taught when you're young.
says go to college, you can have fun and then you'll still be successful anyway.
Dude, when I went to college, I just happened to choose engineering, and I was like, I know math and science. I can do this, right? But there was no real guidance of somebody pushing me to go make the right decision.
You want here at college.
It was very ambiguous. Just get into the college, and then you're going to end up fine in life afterwards. Yeah, it's sad. We need a new way, and I like this new alternative media that's being able to speak out against it.
Normal day in Mississippi as to the rhesus monkey. Unfortunately, we are cooked. Gender studies. There are Americans who have STEM degrees yet cannot get jobs. Yeah, we just saw some
that's just a more recent, especially
I agree with that point though that he's making. Thomas Massey was explaining on Kibbe how the cattle and AG works. Yeah, Mark Ripito from Starting Strength. That's a phenomenal YouTube channel. Y'all should go check it out. Very important YouTube channel. He did an episode with people that worked in the beef industry, and he talked to them, and I learned so much from that. I'm gonna repost that on X, and I'm definitely gonna rewatch that. It's been a while since I've listened to it. If you learn how, like, even something you think of that might be a little simpler, like just farming or raising animals for slaughter, it's infinitely complicated.
It is.
All these systems are at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to check that out from Massey as well. It sounds very interesting. Good to know the Echo Dot doesn't work well. Thanks for the review.
Okay, the Echo Dot, it doesn't work well depending on what you want it for. I use it for like basic stuff like the alarm, and I use it to like control the lights in my house. Like it is good for that stuff.
Spying on you.
And I use it as a speaker. It's not the worst thing, but there really isn't an alternative to really use that's like that cheap. So
right,
I would still say the Echo Dot is still a buy. It's cheap enough where it's like, okay, but they need to up their game. It's been the same way for the last 10 years.
Robots are just too creepy. The tech bros are paying for the renovation of the White House. Yes, that's very true. Let's hope it won't be. Oh, it will be the delivery driver. Oh, absolutely.
That's next.
Yeah.
They're already the audit. Here's the thing.
The minivan shows up and then like Wall-E deploys out of it and it brings you your food.
Yeah, 100%. They're doing the autonomous vehicles. Those are already the rigs and stuff like that. Those are already being released. Some companies are piloting that stuff. All the stuff you see, like here we have Waymo. So the Uber
Waymo
driver
problems. That's what I call it.
Waymo and Uber have partnered together, and the Waymo works like fantastic. Unfortunately, for the people
the Waymo, you can get out in front of it and then yield to you. Yeah.
That is true. But those things go fast.
They do
for no reason.
Yeah, it's an electric car, I believe.
But the delivery drivers are cooked too. I'm unfortunate. This might be this is a 25-year inflection point. They say every 80 years we get a massive inflection point. We're at that point again. So
I agree. We covered these. Not possible to sell as a condo.
Yeah, we did.
Still not Rosie the robot.
New comments. Hello, 666. Ooh.
Hellion Beast. Hello, Hellion Beast. Hiya, Rex. Hiya, Tim. Hello.
Great
Agent
show.
Phil. Let's learn a trade. There's good money in it.
Yeah. I mean, become a plumber, become a electrician. Those jobs are still needed. You can make good money from it. I always say that if you don't have a strategy, don't just go into college with no plan. But
Ooh,
what?
I'm sorry. Look into Terry Thompson, Zanesville, Ohio. He killed himself and set loose all his exotic animals.
What?
That's how you got to do it. At the end of the day, when you kill yourself, you have to release all your tigers that you own.
I didn't. I had not heard about that.
That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all of it. But in closing, guys, we appreciate every single one of you guys that tune in. And like I said, keep tuning in for next Thursday, and then Sunday we should have another guest, another special segment. I think it might be Civil War. I know we bridged from the other one, but there was some interesting stuff, so I might still cover that.
And pool time. Old Civil War. Civil War.
No, old Civil War Western expansion. I still probably will cover that, but like there's a new episode out. If you guys didn't catch the live episode, I think it was a week or two ago. We did the World War II deep dive. Really good episode, guys. That one, you're going to learn some stuff from it. Go watch that on YouTube and Rumble. Those are linked in the X bio. Those are really good. That's a really good video to go watch. I had a lot of fun making that one. The Harrison interview should be coming out soon as well.
Absolutely phenomenal. Great interview. I ended it a little too short, but I'm saying that you're still going to get 50 minutes of it. It really was.
We've got an hour video for that. So that's coming out. Tune in for that. That'll be on Thursday. We'll release that, guys.
Yes. And we're hunting for new guests. We're hunting for new people every Sunday. Every time you tune in on Sunday, it's really going to be a great show. So we got like 800 people in here. Please just come watch on Sunday and really get a taste for that Sunday special and what Gray Area is all about. And then, of course, follow Gray Area on YouTube.
Please follow me. I know we
Tim.
preached this, but I really appreciate every single one of you guys that comments, subscribes, gives me a follow. That is all. Thank you guys for staying on this long with us. I know it's a little bit of a shorter live, but we will be back in fashion on Thursday.
I was living in New York. I was going on the subway and I was eating the pastrami sandwich. I was going to the deli. I was walking here.
Hey, I'm walking here.
And then someone said, you don't follow Tourism Tim on X no more. And I said, of course I follow Tourism Tim on X. He's a New York guy. I'm a New York
we got
guy.
to do something about that.
But the algorithm and the Grok, it unfollowed him from my account. So I had to go back and follow him again. So even if you are following Tourism Tim on X, just go verify that you are and then retweet something. Just look, we're trying to grow the show here, guys. We're trying to grow our ability to get these really high quality guests. So that's what it's all about. You really help our ability to do that by following all the accounts associated, but especially Tim's account. And he posts a lot of clips and updates on there. And we do a lot of polling and questions. So thank you for being here with us tonight.
That's it. Rupert's broken through again.
Yeah, the dog's broken through again.
Oh, he took the alternative route.
You can't have nicotine anymore.
All right, Rupert says goodbye, guys. See ya. Peace.
Ending the stream.